Hey everybody, Joy here. It's August 1, 2022. And there goes my pen. I'll just get a different one. I'm so excited. I can barely breathe. Those of you that have been watching me for years and years and years, you know I usually am very, very sad on my birthday because of family issues, like so many of you have, just like I have. But I just found out two of the people I love so very, very, very much asked, could we come on Thursday to visit you? Like, Thursday's my birthday, yay! That's right, Thursday is my birthday. I'm going to be 72. But, you know, it doesn't matter what the number is. No matter what the number is, if I was 102, it's still the youngest I'm ever going to be for the rest of my life. So praise God forevermore. I'm alive, I'm well, and two people that I absolutely adore are coming to visit me on my birthday. Let's talk about shorts. What do you say? I wanted to show you quickly the pattern that I've chosen. You know I want a rubber band waist. I need an in and out waist, so as we go through the day. But when you make shorts with a rubber band waist, my mom always called that elastic. We're going to put elastic. Everybody always says, what elastic do you put? Well, here's the elastic I put. I've got a whole basket, all different kinds. You can just go to Joann's and get yourself some elastic. I like 1 inch. The most important test for elastic is when you stretch it out and you let go, does it go back to where it started? Or when you stretch it out and you let go, is it suddenly wider than it was to start with? So I like 1 inch, I like 1 1/4 inch. Now there's one person I know who sells elastic. Here's some of it, and that is Silhouette Patterns. It is 2 inches. 2 inch elastic. It's Peggy Sager, Silhouette Patterns. And her elastic is wonderful. Very, very pop. It doesn't stretch very far. I'll compare it to another one here in a minute and you'll see. It doesn't stretch very far, but it does have great recovery. When it bounces back to its original shape, that's called recovery. So stretch it, pops back. The thing about Peggy's elastic is you can cut it 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1 1/4 inch. It has little stripes going through it, all the way through it. And as long as you cut on one of those stripes, and you don't even have to measure it and be exact, it'll cut there by itself. Then it's not going to unravel and it's going to stay put. It's awesome elastic. I would never use 2 inch elastic in the top of my pants. There's not 2 inches of my belly that is the same. It has to be 1 inch. So this is Peggy Sager's elastic. This is the kind of elastic Judy Kessinger uses. It's very, very stretchy on its own, but it also has a band in the middle, a piece of string in the middle, and the string stretches too. So you leave like a buttonhole opening in the front, and then you can pull that string and tie them if you need them to be tighter. And in my case, I'm sure I would need to untie it and make them looser. So that's another kind of elastic. Now I don't think Judy sells this, but you can find it, and I can't tell you the name of it because I don't remember, but you can find it in my Amazon store. Now this one is a super, super, super cheap. Hancock's was going out of business, I think. Or maybe I bought it from Amazon. You know, these things all happened years ago. This is 1 inch elastic, and it came on this roll. So it was a great big, like 50-yard roll of it. And I've been using it for years. And so it's just, you know, I'm sure a cheapy one in the industry. And it stretches real good. And when you stretch it real far, it looks like a whole bunch of little tiny windows you can see through. And it has great recovery. This says 1 inch, great for leggings or shorts or pants. Absolutely. Here's another one. This is another cheapy one. This is one that I made made to put around my waist so I can find my waist when I'm measuring my body for distance from shoulder to waist and waist to knee and you know, all of that. And so I just put it over my head and put it around my waist. This one has like stripes in it, little columns, but perfectly fine, goes great in pants, shorts, whatever, stretches and pops right back to where it started. Remember, that's what's important, recovery. So you don't have to have some special kind of elastic. Here it is again, here's some more of it. Maybe it'll show better since I haven't used it 1,000 times. So, that's a different kind. Just order you some 1 inch, 1 1/4 inch. Some of you may want 1/2 inch. Some of you may want 3 rows of elastic. So use 1/4 inch or 3/8 inch or whatever. Whatever. Now, here's an expensive one. This is Louise Cuttings. See, it says Louise's, and I have hers in black and in white. The thing about her elastic is, let's do a test. Let's do a test. Let's take 10 inches of this one. This one's the one that has all those little, this is a different one I didn't even show you yet. There's so many different kinds, so many. I don't know what one this is, but it's got a whole bunch. It's like a basket weave, this one is. So I'm going to take 10 inches of this one, and I'm going to stretch it as far as I can, and it goes to 17 inches. Now I'm going to take 10 inches of Louise Cuttings elastic, and I'm going to stretch it. Her elastic is very soft. Her elastic goes to 21 inches. This stuff stretches forever. Look at that. Super, super stretchy. So you don't want to waste this. You want to put it around your waist and stretch it a little bit and cut it. She usually cuts 7, 8, 9 inches off. It's unbelievable how stretchy this stuff is. Can you cut it? No. You cannot cut it. It is 1 1/4 inch. It says 1 1/2 inch. Let me see. Let me try that again. Hello, Julie. 1 1/2. Well, to tell you the truth, it's really 1 3/8. But it is fabulous elastic. Very, very comfortable and stretches, stretches, stretches. So, Cutting Line Designs is who Louise is. Her name is Louise Cutting. Like scissors that cut, Cutting Line Designs, if you want to get her really nice, super stretch elastic. I don't think you can cut it, but I know you can sew through it. You can definitely sew through it. And so you could go put it in flat and then sew 3 rows around it, and it would look like you had 3 rows of elastic. I've made pants with it, and oh, it's just wonderful stuff. So, what pattern did I decide to use? I decided to use this one because it has pockets, because it's for woven fabrics, and because it has an elastic waist. 2005, my friends. So this one's probably not available, but you can find one like it. I promise you can find one like it. Now these have pockets. Let me tell you something about pockets. If you don't make a muslin, and you take your good material and you say, I'm just going to make a pair of shorts and put pockets in them. If you try your finished garment on and you don't like the side, say, oh my gosh, I need to take this in another 1/4 inch, that's baggy, oh I need to take it in over here. You can't do that once the pockets are in. You cannot take in a side seam that has pockets in it. Trust me on that. Make a pair without pockets when you're sure of, now this is woven and it doesn't stretch, so as long as you're using a woven to remake more and more and more of them, you'll be able to make them and put the pockets in them because you will have made sure it fits you without the pocket, okay? All right, the first thing you want to do, I'm going to assume everybody's making a rubber band elastic waist because that's what this video is going to be about. It's the elastic waist style. When you are pulling your pants up over your butt and you don't have a zipper and you don't have a button and a buttonhole, the waist of the pants has to go over the widest part of you. No matter if that's your thighs, your butt bump, your belly bump, your hip extensions, whatever. The short has to come up over the biggest part of you, so your waist has to be as big as that. The waist of your pants has to be as big as the widest part of you down here below your waist. Okay? So it's not really at my hip, it's not really here, it's not really there. Wherever it is. As long as it's somewhere in that short. Your waist. And listen, it is possible, grief, if mine doesn't stop, it's going to be me. It is possible your waist could be bigger than your hip. That is possible. And if that's the case, then you will have to make your waist bigger. That will have to be your biggest measurement, will be your waist. And then you will have to narrow it at your hip. Okay? Mine's not far off. What is my waist now? 37, and my hip is 42. What is that difference? 38, 39, but 5 inches. What is one to do? It might be the youngest I'll ever be him, but it's darn sure not the skinniest. Okay, what you want to do first, get your envelope. Look at where the body measurements are. Mine are on the flap. See up here, all these measurements on the flap? I'm going to find the one that says 42 hip. Don't faint when you see it's some gigantic size you don't wear in the store. Just find the one that has your biggest part. Mine says 42 is a size 18. Now the problem with that is the legs may be very big around. Now see, my legs aren't big around. You know, everything between my waist and there is. But my legs are not that big around. So it might be possible I need to narrow the leg a little bit. But don't worry about that. Let's start with the widest part of you below your waist and above the hem of your shorts. Okay? So I'm going to start with a size 18. I've never made a size 18, but we're going to today. Okay, and why is that? Because I hardly ever make pants or shorts without sure-fit designs, and because I usually make a top, and when I make a top, I measure my upper bust up here, which is 36, and so if I was going by that, say I was making the top instead of the shorts, and I looked for upper bust is a 14. See, and that's right. Upper bust is a 14, and even in that case, I would probably have to narrow the shoulders. Okay? So, that's the deal on that. Get your paper out. You'll probably have 2 papers. Get your paper out, your first page 1. Figure out what view you are making from your picture. I'm making view D as in dog. We are going to look for view D as in dog in these pictures down here. There is no D as in dog. So what is one to do when they don't give you a D as in dog on the paper? It's like, what? A, B, there is no D. Turn the page. Turn it over. Let's see what's on the other side. Aha. Here we have C, and here we have D. We're making view D. So what I do is I mark that, because there's a lot of information on these papers that I don't need to look at. So I mark it. I fold it and I mark it, and then I only pay attention to what I need. I'm not going to pay, you know, my mom used to open a pattern and she used to cut out every single piece in it with a pair of scissors. No. I'm going to look and see what pieces do I need to make these shorts. And it's going to tell me, look here, it's going to tell me right there, use pieces 11, 12, and 13. And not only that, it's going to show me what they look like, and it's going to show me how to place them on my material. So you all don't need to worry about, oh, I've never done it before, I don't know what to do. Take your material, fold it in half lengthwise, and put your pieces on like the picture shows you to. Why are there 3 different pictures of how to lay it out? Because it's showing you what to do if you have 45-inch wide fabric, or what to do if you have 60-inch wide fabric, and it's showing them all without nap, without nap, without nap. So what that means is it's not velvet, it's not corduroy, it's not something that everything has to go the same direction. Okay? Although if you have a print, make sure that your shorts are pointing up toward the waist. Your pattern, your print, make sure the design is pointing up toward your waist. Here, they're showing it like it doesn't matter. And they've got piece number 11 facing one way and piece number 12 facing the other way. I would not do mine like that. They show you that because that's how you save the most fabric. Mine will face both the same direction because I have a big print that has flowers and they have to go up, not down. Now here is one here showing the pieces going the same way. This picture is for sizes 6, 8, 10. This picture is for sizes 12 through 20. This picture is for all the sizes but on 60-inch wide fabric. Now, I know, because I sew all the time, that most 60-inch wide fabric is stretchy. It's usually a knit. And this pattern is for woven. How do I know it's for woven and not stretch? Because if you look on the back of the pattern, let me show you. It will show you on the back of the pattern suggested fabrics. Suggested fabrics. And what does it say? Cotton, cotton blends. It doesn't say knits. So that's how you know. This is for wovens, and wovens don't stretch. It says cotton, cotton blends, challis lightweight crepe, and linen blends. See? Additional fabric will be needed for stripes, plaids, or one-way design fabric. Got all the information you need, my friends. So, figure out your pieces. Open up your great big packet of pieces. Find the one. And a lot of you are saying, good grief, we know all this, Joy. Just fast forward. Just fast forward. That's a back. We're not making a back. This is the back of a top. We're not making the back of a top. With the pocket on there, I might need that. Now see, my mother would sit in the chair and cut every single one of these out. This is the top. That's a top. The top in this is cute too. Somewhere in here we're going to find some shorts. Alright, there's piece 11, which is the capri, but we're going to cut it off to be a short. It shows you right here, cutting line, cut here for the shorts. There's piece 12, and I told you I saw a pocket a while ago, so the pocket's laying on the floor somewhere. That's number 13. Alright, so get your pattern ready, make your mark so you know where you are, pull out the pieces that you need, and cut around them. So when I come back, I'll have 3 pieces here, and I'm going to use those 3 pieces to figure out if these shorts are going to fit my current on-the-spot body shape. I'll be back. Here's piece number 11, which is the front. Here's piece number 12, which is the back. Now these shorts look like major granny length to me. But we'll fix that when we do the Palmer and Plesh try-on. You all ask me about the different ways I've learned fitting and how Palmer and Plesh differs from SureFit Designs. SureFit Designs is a dot-to-dot system where you plug in your measurements from the top to the bottom, from the side to the back to everywhere. So the pattern automatically comes out very, very close to what you need. It won't allow for a forward shoulder or a different slope of a shoulder than what the pattern calls for. It won't allow for a sway back or a round back. It should allow for your proper bust measurement. The other way is Palmer and Plesh. Now this book helped Philly, my friend Philly, and me more than anything else, more than any class, more than anything we ever went to or ever did or ever studied or ever watched. Fit for real people. You can see those real people right there. And you can see the garments that they made using the method I'm getting ready to show you. Wonderful, 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 wonderful book. I recommend it for everybody. Now, not only is there that one, there is this one. And I'm not affiliated with these people at all. I've had these books for 12, 15 years. Pants for Real People. And here you can see this lady here? She's not 15 and weighs 100 pounds. There's a lady that is. There's another lady that isn't. There's tall, there's short, there's skinny, there's chubby, there's full bust, there's not very much bust. And it shows how to make a garment, the same garment, no matter what your shape or your size. Fabulous, 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 fabulous. I love what I learned from these Palmer Plush books. I highly recommend them. They have even more than that. Look here. If they wrote it, I own it. That's the truth. Jackets for Real People. Oh yes. And there's the real people. Very young, not so young. Awesome. They actually have another book that is how to make knit garments fit you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. If they wrote a book, buy it. If they have a CD, DVD, buy it. No affiliation. I'm just telling you. You will learn. You wonder where I learned all this stuff? I didn't figure it out for myself. I learned it from somebody else. And I've been trying to teach it to you because everybody keeps asking me to. So here we go. We have a front, we have a back. Now the first problem is my paper pattern only goes up to a size 16. The back of the envelope said that I need a size 18 for my 42 hip. I measured. Put your two papers together, put your front to your back, minus the seam allowance, 5/8 and 5/8 is 10/8, which is 1 1/4. Cross them over 1 1/4. Here at the side, you got to, because that's what you're going to do in real life. Whatever you're going to do with the sewing machine, you're going to do with some tape here. So we cross that over. I come down here to my hip area and I measure. I come in 5/8 inch there and I come in 5/8 inch over here, and it measures 22 inches. Now this is one front and one back, so it will come around and stop right here if I put these papers on me. And so from here around to here, minus the seam allowance, it measures 22. 22 and 22 is 44. I'm 42. So my lightning fast mind is thinking, even though I don't have the size 18, if I go ahead and use the size 16 and I just take narrower seams, instead of taking 5/8 inch seams, I'll take 3/8 inch, or you could take 1/4 and take a smaller seam, then that will add that much more width if you think you need it. All right, now that's one way. That's one way to figure it. Another way that you can do it is you can look here at what's called grading. And you can see how much they add every time. They start out with a 10 right here. Then they add, let's see how much they add. Then they add 3/8 inch to go to a 12. Then they add a 1/2 inch to go to a 16. Then they add another 1/2 inch to go to a 14. It goes from 10, 12, 14, 16, okay? So all you would have to do if you wanted to have a size 18 and you didn't have one is just add some paper over here and add another 1/2 inch the whole way up and down. And over here, they're not adding here at the inside, they're only adding like 1/8 of an inch. So whatever they add per size here, it's called grading, you would add that much to the inside. And that would give you the extra that you need, okay? You don't need to do anything at the center front. You don't need to do anything at the center back. So I'm going to show you the Palmer Plush method. It is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. my belly has expanded and filled up, filled in here. My belly's filled up down here because it expands during the day. And if you're my age, yours probably does it too. So you want to make your shorts for the biggest part of the day. You understand? Whatever part of the day you feel the most bloated, the most full, the most big, the most whatever. I always love it when I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh, look, I have a waist. The disappearing waist. What we're going to do is we're going to sew the paper together with straight pins. We are going to sew it. We're only going to sew half a pattern. We're not going to sew 4 pieces. We're only going to pin sew these 2 pieces, okay? But before we do that, we have to stabilize the edges of the paper. You have to have a red pencil. You have to have some 1/2 inch invisible tape. You have to have some glass head straight pins. And I'm sure everybody probably already has it. Hold on. Now I happen to have a set of these. I have them for 1/2 inch and I have them for 3/8 inch. They are wonderful. Now, this seam allowance in this short is 5/8 inch. But I'm going to make it skinnier, remember? Because I don't have the right pattern size. I'm going to use my friction marker. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to mark 3/8 inch. 3/8. Because you have to know where to put your Scotch tape. The markers will help you do it on a soft ironing board top. I'll show you when I get it marked. You can go to YouTube, search Palmer and Plesch, P-L-T-S-C-H, something like that. Can you see that red line there? Seam allowance duty. We're not going to put it together at center front and center back. We can't do that right now or we'll be able to get it on. So we're going to come over here and do the inseam. We're going to do the inseam now, 3/8 inch. Seam allowance is 5/8 inch. How come I'm doing 3/8? Who remembers? That's about how long I can remember something too. We're doing 3/8 because we want to add more room because I don't have the right pattern size. So I'm doing 3/8 instead of 5/8. Now, this is going to be a good representation because, pardon my phone, y'all. It's going to be a good representation because this is paper, it doesn't stretch. We're making our shorts out of a woven that doesn't stretch. So now I have my red seam allowance right here. I got to put it over here on the inseam now, right here, be the last one. Boy, these are wonderful. These are in my store, y'all, in my Amazon store. 3/8 and 1/2 inch. Oh my goodness, wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Iron your paper pattern. I iron mine on high heat, but you iron yours on what you feel safe with. I'm going to hold this up close for you. When they do this on Palmer and Plesch, they never put the camera close enough and I can never see their red marks. But I want you to see my red marks. Inseam and the side seam. Now I am going to Scotch tape it. Where am I going to Scotch tape it? You never tell this on their videos either. I'm not going to Scotch tape it out here. I'm going to Scotch tape it inside the red line. Inside the red line. So when I pin all of this red stripe to the other red stripe and I pull it up on my rear end, it won't tear. It won't let it tear because it's going to be reinforced with Scotch tape. Does that make sense to you? I brought over a cutting board that I just keep on the floor for some reason, but it's stiffer. So you're going to have your Scotch tape. You're going to tear 1 inch pieces. Don't tear off some big long piece. You tear off a big long piece and you go to put it down, your paper's going to jump up in the air and it's going to attach itself to your tape and you are going to have a tangled up mess. I will show you this after I get it on here. Right up to the red line. 1 inch, 1.5 inch pieces and cross the ends over. And besides that, you can't curve a great big long piece of tape. You can, you know, put these so they go around the curve because they're just short. There we go. All right, let me show you that real close. See how the tape is on the inside of that seam line? Inside. That's how you do it. Then I'm going to tape it over here on this side. Now this is going to have a waist that comes clear up here because, how come? Because it's a rubber band waist. And we need to know some other measurements before we cut this out of fabric. But I'm going to start by doing this, and then I'm going to go put on a leotard or something so I don't look completely naked. Because I love y'all so much, and a lot of you look like I do. We're just going to play like we're twins, okay? And some of you are saying, I don't look anything like you. I'm skinny and young. Well, congratulations. Enjoy it while it lasts, my friends. Enjoy it while it lasts. I did not enjoy it when I was young. Now, if the tape comes through a hole on the other side, you need to watch out for that. And you don't ever want to put an iron on the tape. The rule is iron. From now on, if you have to iron this paper, you iron on the opposite side of the tape. But you can see I'm putting another piece of tape on the other side. So from now on, when I iron it, I'll put a press cloth. So this is the back. You can see how I have it ready. Now there's another place I'm going to have to do this. Any place you have a curve, your underarm curve right here, your neck curve right here, and this curve right here, I'm going to put a red line right there at the 5/8 inch. Or should I do the 3/8 inch? I think we got to do 3/8 inch there as well. So I also need to do 3/8 inch here. Remember I told you there's 4 seams? So I'm going to do 3/8 inch here, red line, and tape the curve. Very important you tape the curves. I'll be back when I get this pinned together, and I'll tell you how you can fix it from that point on so it fits you really good. Let me show you this now that I've got the crotch curve taped. See? 3/8 inch red line. Yours will probably be 5/8 inch. And tape. Okay? Because we are going to clip this. We are going to pull this up. I'm going to pull this up on my body. This part you have to play like it's sewn together and clipped. So like in the material, in the shorts that you're going to end up with, the red line is going to touch your crotch. It's not going to touch your crotch up here. So you've got to clip into here so you can pull this paper up so the red line hits the bottom of you down here. Okay? So, just wanted to show it to you now that I actually did it properly. Okay, my friends, turn and tell your neighbor. Boy, Joy must really love us to put those pants on. Yes, she must. So here you go. Now these look like they would fit me twice. I don't know. If I put them up on and they're tight, I'm going to cry. So I have them marked with the red seam allowance. I have the tape all up and down the seam allowance. I have folded the waistband down. I have taped the crotch curve, and I have pinned together, sewn together. This is pin sewing. Now let me point the pins away from your crotch. Point them going down. Point all the pins going down, because they will fall out if you don't, and they will poke you in some places you don't want to be poked. Okay, so one of the things you have to do before you try them on, remember I told you about how the red line has to be at your crotch? We're going to clip. Clip, clip. Clip on an angle, if you can, because an angle doesn't tear as easy as a straight line. Why is that? I have no clue. So, just do it. There's some things I just do. Now I know that's true with the fabrics. If you will clip your curves at an angle, and you will clip the one curve one way and the other side of the material that you're going to clip it going the other way, and then the clips won't show on the inside of your garment, okay? So we're going to put the front in the front and the back on the back. And I'm going to have a mirror. So, get yourself a three-way mirror. These are such long shorts. Ooh, look at that. Right up over my blouse and everything. How am I going to know if these fit me? How am I going to know when this is a piece of paper? I'm pulling this all the way up tight. And I'm going to pin it up here at my waist. It's plenty high in the front. Let's see how it is in the back. The back is going to be short, I bet. No, not really. God, this is really good for a first try. Take the back, pin the back. It would be better if I did not have the top on. If I wasn't showing myself to you, I'd take the blouse off. I would. Okay? So you got to see the back, and you got to see the front. And a triple mirror, well, oh my gosh, they fit me fine. I don't think I even need that extra. The center front has to come to your center front, to your belly button, to your center front. If the center front, when you do this paper fit, if the center front's over here and you're here, you got a problem. And you're going to have to add more ease, more fabric, more width. So it's reaching my waist fine. You got to be careful. You can't just pull it like crazy. Now my waist is right here, so it's perfect in the front. The back, I hope you can see what I can see. The back, pull it up into your crotch. And is it reaching my waist in the back? Yes, it is. So this is a really good pattern, you guys. I'm not going to have to do anything. Remember, it's going to have elastic up here at the top. It's going to come to just above my knee, which is good for a granny. It's going to come to about there, which is good for a granny. I like that. Yeah, I think it's going to work out great. What I'm looking at now, and it's hard to tell on the paper, is it going to droop under my rear end? Do I need to take a tuck right here under my rear end? Do I need to? I don't know. I can't tell. So I will probably make a muslin. Yeah, I like that. Now, if you want your shorts shorter, you can shorten the paper before you cut them out. I'm going to cut mine out just like this pattern because I really like the feel of it. Now remember, paper doesn't move, fabric does. Even a woven fabric will move, and it has a diagonal pull for sure. So we're going to see, this just seems to be perfect. Yeah, and you see, this is the Palmer Plush method, is trying on the paper pattern. Philly and I do this all the time. Now, if I was making a blouse, I'd have to have all of those other adjustments. But since I'm making the pants, I just have to make sure they go around me. There's enough material to go around my biggest spots. This will be gathered at my waist, right there, and it will fit me in the hip and the leg. I think it's going to be so cute. I'm going to go cut it out. Okay, for my friend Lori and my other newbie sewers, seamstresses out there, this is a wonderful, wonderful garment to learn how to sew on. Make it to wear to bed. It can be pajamas for summertime. So you don't have to worry whether it turns out perfect or not. But you need to know that every pattern piece has a grain line on it. It'll have a little arrow. Do you have an arrow? Well, they won't always have an arrow. But it says next to it, grain line. It also has French and Spanish or something else on it. But you want to make very, 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 very sure that you are straight on this material. This is going to be my muslin, isn't it cute? You want to be sure that you aren't placing your pants. Here, I'll show you the line on this. Do you see the line on this? It's right here. It's not in the center, it's just there someplace where the straight of the fabric should be, so it hangs straight down your belly, down your hip, and on your leg. You want it to hang straight. So you put your paper pattern on your material and you measure from this line to the straight edge of your fabric. Now your fabric has a selvage on one side and it has a fold on the other. I always measure to the fold because the selvages don't always line up perfectly. See right here, it's off just a hair. So I always line up to the fold. So what you do is you have to get one of these slappy rulers that you can slap down. I have a red slappy ruler and a blue slappy ruler. You get whatever kind you like to have, okay? And I always start with the number 1. Doesn't matter what number you start with, just start with 1, but remember what one you start with, okay? So right here is the straight of grain line. I am going to put this ruler on the number 1 line right on top of that black line right there. Then I'm going to come over here and see where it hits this fold right here. And it's 13.5. Now it's not really 13.5, but it doesn't matter. You could start at 3 and you could come out to 15.5. You could start at a half and you could come out here to 13. It doesn't matter as long as everywhere you measure, because you're going to measure in 3 places, measure at the top, measure in the middle, and measure at the bottom. If it's a pant, measure in 5 places. I'm liable to measure in 10 places. I'm such a fanatic about everything being perfect. So then you put a pin in. This is the first pins you're going to put in your paper. The first pins are on the straight of grain line, so everything you pin around it is going to be in the right place. Okay? Very, very important. Put it on 1, 13.5 right there. Now, I have weights that I use to weigh my paper patterns down. Most of you already know that. Grosgrain ribbon. These actually are nuts. But, you know, it's embarrassing to go into an Ace Hardware store and ask one of the men that work there to show you where the nuts are. Ask me how I know. So I don't know exactly how you would go about that. But I get these at the Ace Hardware store, and I just happen to know where they are, thank God. Okay. I hope y'all didn't choke on your coffee on that one. I know. Isn't the English language crazy? How every word means more than one thing. Take your rotary cutter or your scissors. Viv cuts with scissors. She loves to cut with scissors. I have some beautiful scissors, but I prefer cutting with my rotary cutter. So I cut with scissors forever and ever and ever. Be sure if you have a print that has a one-way direction that you're putting your pattern piece down there in the proper orientation to which way's up and which way's down, okay? This print right here, I couldn't really tell. So I just stood off in the corner and thought, oh, that looks like it's up, so that's going to be up. I change my blades regularly, but shoot, they don't stay sharp even through one garment hardly. There's the curve, the crotch curve. Throw that away. I won't really throw it away. Don't get all upset. I have a great big plastic bin and I keep all my scraps in it. And when it gets full, I'll take it all to the Goodwill or I'll do a giveaway or something. Okay, see how this is kind of crunched up because I tried it on? So I'm going to put my little ruler down there and down there, and then you can cut really, really straight. When you're using a rotary cutter, cut slow and cut steady, and cut up next to a proper kind of ruler. Don't run the blade up your arm like some women have done. Oh yeah, Oh, Joy, you just make those things up. No, I don't. A lady did. See, I'm going real slow. My finger is right there. One lady ran the blade right up her arm. Yeah. Be careful, the thing is sharp. Razor blade, sharp. So you take off your weights, if you have any weights. Next thing is you have to put your marks in. You've got notches. Now, you can cut the notches as a big V, as they have it there, but I'm only doing 3/8 inch seams instead of 5/8, and I don't want great big notches in my seam, so I'm just going to do little clips. This is where the pocket goes. I'm not even putting the pocket. Little clip here. Here's a dot. What's the dot for? These may have a slit on the side. You know, how cool is that? So I'm just going to put another little notch right there in case there's a slit. No, there wouldn't be a slit. This is the pocket. Up here's where the pocket goes. So there's a little notch here and there's a little notch here. That you would mark dot, dot, because the pocket, paper pocket piece is going to have a dot and a dot that matches that dot and that dot. So I really just need this and these two here. There's nothing at the top to mark because I will make the waist fit me. The waist will probably be pulled up in the front and left the same in the back. So I cut that notch. Here's another notch, and I don't know what that notch is for. Not a notch, it's a circle, a little circle, and it's probably going to tell you to clip to there or so close to the circle or something because it's your crotch. All right? Now there are shorten and lengthen lines on here, several of them. Here's one for below the crotch. Here's one for up here on your hip. So you can shorten these, lengthen them, but they just seem to just look perfect on me. Let's get all these notches clipped, and they are. That is the back of my pant. And you can sew this thing up in 30 minutes, tops. 30 minutes. And see, just think, if it didn't turn out perfect, if you got it upside down, or if you got it a little too baggy, or whatever, you can wear it to bed. You can wear anything to bed. So, isn't that cute? Oh my goodness. And I have enough fabric here to make a little tank top to go with these shorts, so I'm excited. All right, I'll be back after a while. I'll put them together, and then I'll try them on again, and we'll see if I need to do any more fitting on them, okay? I'll be back. All right, after you cut them out, you're going to have two fronts, and you're going to have two backs. Two backs. Now, I have been known to sew the two backs together and the two fronts together. You do not want to do that. So one of the things I always do is I get a friction marker. And I've already written on the front, but I'll show you what I do here. All right, now see, is this the back? Is this the front? Is this the back? Is this the front? They look just alike. You're not going to know what they are. But I can tell you because I already wrote on the other side. Let me see. That's the back. So this is the front. So take a marker and just write here, there, all over. F, 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 front. Over here, put it near the seam allowance. This is going to iron off, but put it near the seam allowance just in case. So that's a front, a front, a front. So when I see, say these two pieces got all mixed up, and that one's way over there on the side of the room. Why would that happen? I don't know. Now this one I'm going to write BK on. BK. Why don't you just write B? I have no idea. I cannot answer that question. BK, BK. BK. Now another reason, why do you write it 3 times? If I happen to hit any of these with an iron, they're going to disappear. So let's say this got over here, and this got over here, and that got over there, and we didn't know what went to what. And I thought, okay, I've got to sew a back to a front. You don't sew a back to a back. You sew a back to a front. So I'm going to say, let me see, I wonder, okay, this is a back. Now I need a front. Let me see, where's a front? Is this the front? No, that's another back. No, 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 no. We don't want to sew a back to a back. Let's look at this piece over here. What's this one? Let me see. F. This one's a front. So I've got a front. Do this when you make pants. It will save you from having to rip out a whole bunch of stitches. A back, a front, a back, a front. We only have 2 pattern pieces here, my friends. This is so easy, and if you can sew 2 pattern pieces together, you can sew 20 together. Just think about it. Say, I could make this some kind of style, and I could cut this front leg. I could cut an angle here. I could cut an angle there. I could take them apart, add seam allowances. That would be 3 pieces. And then I could take the back and I could cut the paper pattern up. Say I want to make it in 2 pieces. So then I have 2 pieces for the back and 3 for the front. Still, you just sew them back together. So it doesn't matter how many pieces you have, they all attach back to each other. The secret to being a good seamstress, sewist, whatever, is to mark. Have very good markings. I love the way my friend Viv does her notches. She has the cutest notches in the whole world, and I'll show you how she does them. Let's play. We're drawing a pattern, and it's got a notch right here, a big notch. And the notches are always drawn in, okay? So cutting out a pattern, there's a notch. Viv, number 1, she uses scissors. Viv's gonna say, will you please quit talking about me every 10 minutes? It's just, I love the way she sews. So she takes her scissors, then she takes that notch and she cuts it out this way. This way, I'm not even good at it. She cuts it out that way. And so, can you see? I don't even know if I was in the thing so you could see it. See how the notch sticks out here? Instead of just doing a little clip like I do. And so it's so easy to see those notches. But that's part of how you can be a really good seamstress and save time and get things put together, is do good marking of your notches and your circles. So now that we have found a proper back and a proper front, we have to sew them together. How do they go together? They go together right sides together. I'm going to sew them together just like we pinned them together. This is the side seam. We're going to sew this side seam. We're going to pin it together. We're going to sew this side seam. We're going to match the notch. See, here's my notch. This little bitty dash right here. That's, you know, it works. Do what works for you. Do what you like to do. My main reason for doing this instead of cutting the V, the inwards V, is because I'm doing 3/8 inch seams, and so I didn't want a great big chunk out of there. Do I sew from the top to the bottom or the bottom to the top? It depends on how I put my pins in. Usually I sew from the top to the bottom, but I've got these pins put in backwards. You want to always sew. So as you're sewing, sew, take the pin out. Sew, take the pin out. Sew, take the pin out. Remember how I taught you to take a little bite. Don't put your pin in like that, because it can move on the pin. It could move all the way up there, it can move there, it can move away from itself. Take a baby bite, a stitch. Take a stitch, a baby bite, and that pin will stay there, it won't fall out, and your fabric cannot move back and forth. Try to put them in where your seam allowance is, in this case 3/8 inch, and take a little bite. Do you have to put so many pins? No. You don't have to put any pins if you don't want to. But I just like to have a lot of pins, and I can sew like there's a fire engine coming and I gotta get out of the house in 2 seconds. And I want to take my pants with me. I like to sew fast is what all that nonsense meant. So what you're gonna do is you're going to sew the front to the back 2 times. Okay, so here's the other back. Here's the other front. I'm going to sew them together just like the other side. I'm gonna pin them from the top down. I'm gonna sew from the top down. But this is the way I'm not even looking at the pattern to see what they do. Now, if you were putting the pockets in, which I will in some other pairs because I love pockets, then you would put the pockets in before you would do this. Okay, so I'm going to turn this over so I can sew from the top to the bottom. And now I'll just sew these 4 seams. Will I use a serger? No. Why won't you use a serger? You have half a dozen of them. Because A serger cuts off part of your fabric. It cuts it off. Well, what if you put these on and they're too tight and you want to make them bigger by taking out your stitching and putting more stitching in, leaving yourself more room? You won't be able to. There's one leg. There's one leg. I'm going to go sew 4 seams. 2 side seams, 2 inseams. Then I'll show you how you put them together to sew this great big long crotch area. I now have 2 tubes. One's for your right side, one's for your left side. You see here? There's the side seam, and there's the inseam. And this big U shape right here is where your body, your torso, is going to sit right in there. Okay? So what you do is you take one of your tubes, got them both right sides together. We're going to take one of them and put it right side out. I have pressed the seams. I've pressed the seams flat and I've pressed the side seams toward the back. I haven't decided how I want to press the inseams yet. Alright, now we have one tube right side out. We have the other tube wrong side out. Now we're going to put one tube down inside the other one. Remember this one thing, right sides touching. So when you put this one inside this one, your right sides will be touching each other, okay? And you'll know you have that part right. Now we're going to match the crotch seam here. It's the short seam here in the deep part of your U, your crotch seam. Now you have 2 seams here, and you want them to go in opposite directions, like in a quilt. Now we're going to come over here to the long seam, the side seam. These 2 side seams, one's going to be here and one's going to be here, and they're not sewing to each other. So we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to line them up and make sure they match. Down here at the bottom of the U, you are going to sew those 2 inner seams together. Right here. You're going to sew the 2 legs together right here. I'm sewing with a 3.0 stitch length. Do that too. Don't sew with your regular 2.5 millimeters or whatever the heck it is. 2.5 stitch length. Move it up to a 3. I have my U pinned together. The bowl is sewn together. The big U shape, the bowl. Why is it so tall and funky looking? Because this top part's going to fold over and go over elastic. And then it's not going to look so crazy like it does right now. I didn't look on the pattern to see how big elastic they want me to put in here. Let me check that. Alright, notions. This is where you find how much elastic. Here where it says notions. Right there, notions. Thread. Buttons, shorts, D. Capri pants, E. 1 1/8 yards of 3/4 inch wide elastic. Here we are. Now you see the 2 legs. Here's the U now. Here it is. It goes right here, down here, between the legs and up the other side. Okay? So now you have 2 legs. You're looking at the front. I'm looking at the back. You can see now that it's very easy to try these on. I'm going to go in front of the mirror. Now, if you have the roly-poly 70-year-old waistline, I'm high on this side, low on this side. You don't go by what the pattern says the waist is. You don't go by that. This is Palmer plush again. You put your elastic on and you pull the pant up into your crotch where it wants to be. Where does the pant want to be? See there? These are so cute. And they're going to have a hem. Remember, they're going to have a hem. Yeah. Look at that. Aren't they fun? Ah, yes. We'll make a long blouse to cover up the excess baggage. Okay, so now what you do is you take a marker. Somebody else can do this with you and it helps. It does help. Yeah, so I'm going to draw with this marker all the way around. Kind of hard to do in the back, but you can. Make sure your elastic is where you want it. Yes, very good. Kind of hard to do in the back. This is when your husband can help. See there? Under the elastic. You can see the blue mark. Under, not above it. This is going to wrap down, come over the elastic, and then you're going to sew under the elastic. So you're going to draw under the elastic, you're going to sew under the elastic. Okay? Very good. So, now, somehow you have to do the back, and the back is hard. Sometimes if you just don't look in the mirror, you can mark it. If you don't look in the mirror, feel where it is, close your eyes and mark. Yes, this is why you want a friction marker. Yeah. Now, come on, mark. You got to get especially. The most important marks are the two sides, center front, and center back. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a straight line from those points. Probably not going to get a straight line. So this is going to fold down, all the way down, like that. And in the back, it's going to be short. Okay, so play like you got your shorts done. You got the hem in. You know, my sisters can both sew. I wish they'd make something and let me show it to you. They both sew really good. See there? So now I'll make a top. It comes down over my tummy, covers up my shorts, and the next pair I can go ahead and put the pockets in. Hey, I think my muslin turned out really good. Cute, cute. Now, do you have to make the hem the way they said? No. Put the hem where you want it. Get a pin. Put the hem where you want it. There. I think that's where I want my hem. Right there. What do you think? So I definitely want it above my knees. But that's cute because, you know, it's kind of like a skirt. You could wear this out. Now here's the next issue. The next issue is I pull this up on the waist where it belongs by my low hip, high hip, and hopefully the hems will come out even. But I will pin them both in and press them and make sure I don't have to adjust them because of one leg being lower than the other, or hip being lower than the other, or whatever. That just almost looks like a skirt. That's just so cute. I love that. What do you think? I'm going to finish it. I'm going to probably use 1/2 inch elastic. Oops. I'm going to fold the top down and press it. First of all, when I take these off, when I take them off, you see the line. I will measure, if I'm using 1/2 inch elastic, I'm going to measure up a half, and then I'm going to add a 1/4 inch to that. Because it has to come down and fold over and leave me room to sew and still have a little bit left hanging over. And what I will do is I will serge the edge of this. When I get it cut right, I get it cut all the way around right, so it gives me 1 1/4 inches. A 1/2 and a 1/2 plus a 1/4 is 1 1/4 inches. Then I will serge that line off and I'll have a real nice serged edge. I'll show it to you. I'll be back. I want to show you how rumply-bumply your waist can be. The blue line is what I originally drew. Look at it. It goes uphill, 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 downhill, uphill, uphill, down, 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 down. When you're putting elastic in the top of your pants or your shorts, you can't do it on a roller coaster. It has to be straight. So what I do is I take the line at the waist and the line at center back and I join them. That's the red line. And you can see it's way off from the blue. That blue line really is my rumpledy-bumpledy waist. And over here, I start over here at the side and I draw a straight line. It's red. You got to have all different colors. It's red. Then, this is the shortest part of the pant on me. And I figured out I'm able to actually use 1 inch elastic. See, I can put the 1 inch there, fold it down over, and have a 1/4 inch left. So that's what the black line is. I measured up from the red line, get a really good ruler, measure up from the red line. Let me measure 2.5. See, I'm putting 2.5 right on the red line, and then, and of course it's a little bit still wavy, and then I'm drawing a black line 2.5 inches above it. Because look at how I'm going to cut this pant. I'm cutting this much off here, and I'm cutting nothing off here, and then I'm cutting this much off over here at the side. See, so my waist is low on the sides and high in center back and center front. Let's see what the front looks like. You see, I've still got my F's everywhere and my B's everywhere. So over here, I'm cutting this much off at the top. Here, center front, I'm only cutting that much off. And over here at the side seam, that much off. I will cut on that black line. Actually, I'm going to serge on that black line. Then, I'm going to fold it down 1.25 inches, and I am going to sew all the way around it. Sew, 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 sew. I'm going to leave an opening, and then I'm going to stick this 1 inch elastic inside the opening. Okay? I want to show you what my shorts look like now before I put the elastic in. Notice what I cut off the top. Notice how it's hardly anything there. And then it gets wider, 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 wider. Big wider on one waist, not so wide on the other waist. And it's a roller coaster. That's what your waist will probably look like too, a roller coaster, unless you're young and thin and have no belly. And then this is the top of my shorts now. There's my 2 lines. And I'm going to put 1 inch elastic in. So I'll fold this down 1.25 inch because I made a 1/4 inch extra to sew it, remember? And my elastic will go inside here. So I just wanted to show you why you pull the shorts up, you put the elastic around your waist, and you draw under the elastic. Because if you just hem them up like they are, they're not going to hang right from your hips and your tummy and your rear end. I'm sorry about that, but welcome to aging, my friends. I have these shorts up on my ironing board. I just ran into Lucy. See them hanging over the end of my ironing board? And I'm folding the top of the shorts, the waist area, in 1.25 inch and pressing it. Now you're going to come up with areas like this. You see all this rumplety-bumplety here? That means that you need to just take this over to your sewing machine and sew it in a little bit deeper until those puffy parts, the puffy parts. Do you wish you could do this to your tummy? I'm going to sew this seam in a little bit deeper so it folds down even. I don't like rumplety-bumpy, and I'm not just going to press it and make it work. I'm going to fix it right. So I'm going to go sew this in a little bit deeper, sew it in about 1/4 inch down here to the point to nothing. That's what I'm going to do to fix the rumplety-bumpy. Look here and see how I just sewed a little triangle there. See, this was sewn here, now it's sewn here. Now, when I fold this down, it's flat and even, and that's what I want. Could you do it the way it was? Sure, it's going to have elastic in it, it's going to be gathered up. You could just sew it rumplety-bumpy as best you can. But I like to fix it since I know how. And I'll bet you will too now that you know how. Here's my shorts, folded down 1 1/4 inch. The edge is serged. The seams are serged. You probably noticed the crotch seam hadn't been serged, but it has been now. So people say, show us, show us, show us up close. See there? All the way around. I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew along that edge right there. About 1/8 of an inch up that edge. So I can get 1 inch elastic in this short. Are you excited? I am so excited. And I have something else to tell you, but I'll tell you in a minute if my lightning fast mind can remember it. I'll be back. Here, I just want to show you how I choose a foot that helps me see what I'm doing. I want a very narrow space between the edge of that zigzag and where I'm going to sew. So I put on my 1/4 inch foot, but I'm not using it as a 1/4 inch. I'm just using it because I can see where I'm sewing. Let me see if I can sew and hold this camera. You see how I'm using the edge of that foot? It's right here. This edge on this foot, and I'm lining it up with this. So it's sewing very, very close to this edge. I want it to sew through the zigzag. Not the zigzag, but the serger stitches. See? So I'm sewing with this part. Not this part in here. This part out here. Right along this edge. You need your hands. Your hands are the best tools. See? Now how do I know when to stop? I put a different colored pin in. I put a different colored pin right here, which says, stop sewing here. You see this thread right here? You see this thread right here? I started sewing here, and I went around and around and around and around and around and around the whole way. I put this pin here to tell myself, stop sewing here, because there's going to be a little part that's not sewn. So I can put my elastic up in here and thread it all the way through this casing. And my elastic is going to be 1 inch wide. So I wanted to show you that. I'm going to sew to this pin, back stitch, stop, then I'm going to thread my elastic through. For my new subscriber friends, I'm going to show you. I know a lot of you want to learn to sew, want to try to sew. Some of you have never sewn. So I know somebody's going to say, how did you get the elastic in there and how did you know how much elastic? Well, the way I know how much elastic is I put it around my belly, my so-called waist, where I want it, and then I wrap it around me, and I don't pull it tight like the pants are going to be. I just put it around me and I chop it off. So it's going to be too long, but better too long than too short. Then I put a large safety pin. There's all kinds of things that you can use to pull elastic through. I have purchased them. I can't get the elastics to stay in them. This is the best way I know to not lose what's holding your elastic. So we left a hole. Remember, we left a hole where the blue pin was. So we got to find it. Here's my inside now before the elastic, and here's the outside before the elastic. It's easier to see on the outside probably where my hole is. I knew I left a hole somewhere. There's my hole right there. So you take your pin with your elastic on it and you put it, I always go that way. So here's a hole. See, there's the hole I left. It's serged. You absolutely want to serge your end. Absolutely. Serge it. What if I can't serge it? Zigzag it. Do something. The hardest part is getting it started. There we go. Now, you just feed it. You just feed it in there. You're going to have a place you're going to run into some seam allowances. Just fiddle around till you get it through them. Some people sew them down. I don't sew it down until later, so the elastic won't move around. See? I have all this elastic left. It's more than I need. Aren't you wasting elastic? Definitely. But I'd rather waste elastic than not get enough in here. That's why I buy great big packages of elastic. Elastic is not that expensive. Well, it could be now. They're adding freight charges onto it. This is, by the way, today is August 2nd, 2022. So I'm making these shorts for my birthday. Somebody else said they made shorts for their birthday. See, I just pulled that through. And it's still dangling down. I got some left. I pulled it through. So I've got from here over to here to go still. Let me tell you something. When you go to your sewing room to sew, especially if you're making a quilt, probably doesn't matter, unless you're making videos like I do. But if you're making clothes for yourself, take a shower, fix your hair, fix your face, put on some clothes that are comfortable. Put on something stretchy and baggy and easy to take off and on. Now see how that's all gathered up there? We're just going to pull the elastic in some more. There it comes. It just pops itself in. Hold the pin. Do not take your hand off the pin. When you pull, if you need to pull that way, hold the pin. You can feel the pin. No problem. Just be sure you hold it or you're going to be doing this several times. That's all got to go in there. There you go. See how much I have left now? Not very much. Now, do you see how I just came out? This is where I went in. This is where I came out. So I'm going to give myself lots of room on both sides. I am going to pin this together. Just pick a place, any place, because you don't want it to come apart. I know I have way more than I need in here. So I'm just going to pick a place and I'm going to put a pin in here. I'm not going to cut the elastic yet. I'm just going to put a pin in here so I don't lose one of these ends, and I'm going to stretch this out. You remember, my waist is not that much smaller than my rear end. Sadly. See? How nice is that? Isn't that wonderful? Isn't it just wonderful? So the next step is go try them on. Either pull the elastic out to make them fit you right, or put more elastic in because you've allowed yourself extra. Very good. I'll be back. I have the elastic all in. Now, if you have a much narrower waist than hip, this is going to be much more gathered. But that doesn't matter as long as the elastic opens up the whole way. Look at your pattern. Down here at the bottom, it will tell you how much hem is allowed. Now, if you like the hem they allowed, fine. You see how they have this cut with the little notch, the little notch going out there? That's so when you fold it up, let me show you. When you fold it up, you gotta have that notch. See, when you fold it up, this lines up. The hem will line up perfectly with the inside. Now, if you want to hem it shorter, you will probably have to figure out how to make a narrower seam out here at the edge so that will still fold up. Like this serger line is right out here, and you could rip out this stitching here. You could come up here to the 1 1/4 inch right here. I'll show you with the pen. You could come to here, 1 1/4 inch line. Now let's say we're going to make it shorter, okay? Let's say we're going to make a 2 1/2 inch hem. We're going to come up here. We are going to, number one, cut off all the extra. We're going to figure out where 1 1/4 would be, and it would be right here. So we'll go all the way around the bottom of the pant and cut that extra off. You don't want a 3 inch hem. 5/8 inch would be fine, but 1 1/4 is perfect. 1 1/4. So what you would do is you would start here where the seam is, and you would rip out down to there. See, like that? And then you would have that notch that you need. You would rip out all these stitches right here. This would be cut off. If you wanted to hem it shorter, see, than where it was supposed to be hemmed, this would be hemmed right to here. The hem would be like that. See? So, you can do it. You just have to figure out, and you have to do it on both sides. You have to do it in here too. Did they do it in there too? They did not do it on the side seam, but you could if you needed extra room. So just do it on the in, do it however they did it. They did it on the inseam. So let's iron those marks off. That's why we love friction markers. I always, if you've been watching me very long, you know this. I always press my hem allowance up before I serge, because I can't serge straight. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I just don't. I always go all crooked and crazy. Not too bad, but enough that it would change the straight edge. So this edge, this raw edge, will be serged, but not until I press this down. Why did I put this ham under here? Because it gives me a surface to work on. Number one, closer to my face. Number two, a little bit rounded. And I just like to. Do you have to? No. You do it however you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin this in as though I was going to hem it, but I'm not going to hem it till after I serge the edge. Because, why? Because I will have this pressed, showing exactly where the hem is supposed to be. This will be a crease down here. It will be a crease because I'm going to press it. And then, if when I'm serging this edge, it goes a little bit crooked, it won't matter because my hem will still be perfect. I hope that makes sense. Pin your side seams first. That'll give you a little bit of help. What way did I press the seams? I pressed the side seams to the back. When you put your pockets in, they'll probably go to the front, would be my guess. But not, make shorts without the pocket first, because you want to make sure you've got the fitting right. You can't fit with pockets. You got pockets in there, that's where they're going to be. Come up a little bit. Come up, come up. And there we go. Now I could just pin this into the ham. I could just go like that and press. But then I can't move it around, see? So that's how I'm going to do it. Look at that. My steam iron is a Rowenta Perfect Steam. You can find it in my Amazon store. The last I checked, it's $300. Back when I was buying them, they were $250, I think. But you know, everything's gone up. Everything. Oh my goodness. Everything, everything. Oh, do you love the steam? You cannot have too much steam. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Look at that edge. There's your hem. So now I'm going to go serge this edge. And like I said, if it gets a little bit crooked, it isn't going to matter because my hem is still going to be perfect. Huh? How about that? I'm going to make a top to go with these shorts. I'm going to put them both on for you after a while. And I'll show you my completed birthday outfit. How about that? So, what do you think? All done. My birthday is tomorrow. And I got my new shorts all done. Made the shorts and the top in one day. And made a video showing you how I made them, which you've just watched if you're all the way to the end and you're seeing me in my outfit. This is it. This is actually my muslin shorts and my muslin top. But they are both wearable. There are some changes I'll need to make if I make the top again. I need to pull the shoulders up, cut the shoulders down, I should say. Pull this up on me a little bit because the shoulder slope was wrong. But you really can't tell shoulder slope very well in the paper. I actually did pull it up in the paper and thought it would look better, but I wanted to go ahead and make my muslin first and find out. So I just put it all together. I didn't have enough material, so I faced it with plain white cotton. No problem there. Very, very easy to make. It has slits in the sleeve, slits in the side, and as you know, I used an old pattern. You'll remember, because you just watched this video, and I haven't even edited it yet and can't remember what all I told you, but I'm pretty sure I showed you the pattern. It is a McCalls 4845. It is quite old, 2005. So you're not going to find this pattern unless you find it over there on eBay or Etsy or something. But you can find patterns like it. And you can always put a slit in the armhole or not put a slit in the arm, the sleeve. Don't put a slit in your arm, put a slit in the sleeve. And then the slit on the side. Okay? So this is my new shorts for my birthday. Tell me what you think, only if it's something nice. I already looked in the mirror this morning and I thought, does it look like pajamas, Jerry? He said no, it looks really cute and he likes it. So if Jerry likes it, that's good enough for me. And I think I will actually make it again and again. Now remember, the pattern also has a capri in it. So since I don't like to wear shorts outside anywhere, I only wear them in the house. I might wear this. I might, because when I'm sitting in a chair at the restaurant, this will cover up most of me. Remember, I broke out in really bad hives from sitting at a couch in a hotel one time. So I like to have my skin covered up is the thing. So anyway, that's the end of this video. Comment below. Let me know if you're going to make some shorts and how they turn out and what pattern you used. Okay? I'm going to let you go for now because I've got company coming tomorrow for my birthday, very special company. I have got to bake some cookies. So, take care. Comment below if you want to ask me a question. Bye.